dive into oil. It is Monday morning, so we can already look at what happened last night. Now, again, what I've been discussing what was it? Maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, when oil dumped. All right, what was this? This is 720. So 720 oil dumped, hit its low. What was this? This is 7.6. We hit it. Remember, this was in the overnight, right? In the overnight, we basically hit target in the overnight session and then came down. Now, I can't remember if that's a weak high or a poor high, but there's a high probability that we will fill this gap, or we'll not fill it, but we will retest this number right here because it wasn't a complete number. All right, it happened in the overnight, which makes sense. And then they dropped it down to basically our breakout point, which was 66.77. Basically got everybody from this point because it broke it all the way down to 65. So they really got everybody out that they wanted to get out, and now let's move forward. Now, here's a telltale sign. If we can hold this 72.27, which you have to remember, last week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last week we were all the way down to 70, so we had a decent run up to 74. Right, that's a decent run. So this down 1.6%. Now we might be down 2%. I'm not really worried as long as we can hold this 72.27. Hold this. This would be a good buy if we can hold this to try to retake this and hold this. If we can hold that, then we retake the high with no, let's dive in. MMP. So it makes sense. So we have earnings week. This is going to be a massive week for our oil companies because, well, last week and a little bit of this week. Last week we had a couple of them report, but this week is the bigger reporting. Dividends are coming out on the 5th, so just remember that. So on this day, it might drop another $1.27, but I'm not really quite sure because it had a basic blowout. I mean, it did really well for the quarter. Estimate 98 cents. So it was like basically 20% higher than what they thought. However, the next day it dumped. But it got found to support at this 46.55. So look if it can hold this, and because look, it had great numbers. So there really should be no reason that it drops unless it's just weak hands. Now, like I said, if it holds this 46.55 and kind of trends itself higher, I would like to see that hold. If it can hold it, great. But be careful on dividend risk as it might drop another dollar on this day. Exxon Mobil. Friday, oh wow. Okay, so they beat by 8 cents. Now again, if you've been hearing me talk for a few months now, or a few weeks at least, I've said that the oil companies are not going to really reflect this great massive move until fourth quarter. So this quarter that they just popped is probably, yeah, it's for this quarter, but the reporting is usually like 3 to 6 months behind. So just wait for another 3 months. The next reporting should be better, and then I would suspect that we try to take out the prospective highs at that point in time. Now again, we have dividend risk coming up on the 12th, so just keep an eye for that. Sunoco, been one of my favorites, literally since last year. I think my original investment got in right around here. But yeah, I don't see anything that's wrong. Sunoco's doing amazing. The more people drive, the less people are cooped up in their houses, the better. The more flow of oil, the better for Sunoco. Now, just be careful. They have their earnings on the 3rd, which is tomorrow, and then they also have dividend on the 5th. So be careful with both of those. I'm not saying be careful as in it's going to be terrible. I'm expecting they should pretty well on their earnings. The reason is because the price of gas has gone up which with MMP and a few other ones where they're more like dependent on getting the stuff out, Sunoco's major business is more like the gas stations and the transportation. So they're doing fine because the demand is higher, so they're making more money. Just be careful for the dividend risk on the 5th. Yep, on the 5th. It might drop 82 cents, so just keep that in mind. Let's see, what did they do last time? 3 months ago, they destroyed, right? And then got destroyed. So just keep that in mind that if last quarter was indicative of this quarter, then it's going to report, it's going to get destroyed, and then it's going to make new highs. That's just what it did last time. So I'm not saying it's going to do that this time. But if it were to come back down into this 37, hold this 37, and then go back up, screaming buy. All right, Royal Dutch Shell. Now they have had a nastiness. Like I've been talking for the last few weeks about how I don't really like Royal Dutch Shell or even our more European based companies when it comes to the oil sector. But so far, after the anticipation for their earnings has really taken this stock from literally 38 to 40 to the high of 42 basically for the week. Now, if we can hold this 39, then I'd say it's a buy. We already had our earnings. They came out. What is it? Earnings on, well, I guess maybe they came out. They came out 729, but they're not telling us what the earnings were. So, it was a 130, but what was the estimate? No, I don't know. They're European. Leave them alone. But they do have a dividend coming out on the 12th. It's not a very big dividend. It's 4 cents. So yeah, the stock might move 4 cents. Again, wasn't the most satisfied with my European oil plays, but they seem to be kind of turning around a little bit. Let's see. Did they tell us? No, they just tell us unspecified central time. They're not telling us how they came out. It's fine. I would like for this to be above the 23.73. If it can get above there, stay above there, then I would be more apt to want to put more money in. Let's just say that. British Petroleum. Yeah, no. It's just we got our earnings coming up on the 3rd, coming tomorrow. But yeah, this does not look like it's a fun one. It looks like we're probably transitioning down, which is crazy that oil is at a 4-year high, and our oil stocks are doing pretty crappy. TTE, again, we don't have very much information out of this. We only go back from June just because they changed signals or symbols. What I will say, look at that. They actually tell us that they beat pretty well in earnings. Earnings day, we gapped up. Let's see. 9 out of 10. Look at the oil for today. It's down $1.24. So this is going to be a very nasty day for our oil stocks. So kind of look for this kind of transition down a little bit more instead of up. CVX, Chevron Corp. All right. I wish we were more around this 110, but it's okay. Let's see what our earnings was. 153 estimate, an actual of 160, so we barely beat. We had a huge range on Friday. Basically a 3.3% range. With that being said, as long as it holds above 100, I'm fine. If it holds that 100 mark, I have nothing to complain about. KMI. We just paid out dividends on Friday. So it makes sense why we got a nice little drop. We're looking pretty good though. I'm not really concerned about KMI. 19 was estimate, 23 was actual, so we beat by 4 cents. Nothing to really write home about. However, this has consistently be showing that it's pretty good, right? So if it holds this 78%, and we drop below it, but if it kind of holds this, even though we're having a nasty, nasty day on the oil market today, look, we've already dropped 10 cents since the last time I said it. If we can hold this relatively strong and try to transition up to this 18, then watch out, because we will be trying to break this 1929. But just be careful, because oil could drop. We know that oil can drop very, very fast, and it can drop very, very hard. With that being said, it wouldn't surprise me if we went all the way down to 1657 before we transition higher, kind of get everybody's hands out. Valero, I mean, it's textbook. Look at it. It right on the 50 got rejected at the 50. Now, this is the telltale sign. What did it do? Actually, it beat pretty well on earnings. Estimate of 15 cents, actual 48. That's not bad at all. Be careful for our dividend coming out on the 4th. Excuse me. But other than that, if we can hold this 66.13, maybe give it 2 or 3 days, let's say next week, if we're still above the 66.13, then I will say it would be a risky but a little less risky buy. Now, I would love for it to be above the 69.62, but as long as it's above the 66.13 and it doesn't drop below there, then at least I'm satisfied that we're still relatively bullish. All right, on to our next one.